Before we begin, I just wanted to say, earlier this evening, we saw a tweet from Frank Seravalli where he said that he was hearing the Canucks were close to signing Tom Willander. It was a big deal because earlier this morning on Donnie and Dolly, Rick Dollywall had some commentary about how the Canucks had not signed the guy yet, and how he had a bad feeling about it all, and we made our commentaries about it too. But Seravalli tweeted out just a few hours ago that he's hearing the Canucks are going to sign Willander. It's almost done. But I wanted to show off this tweet that completely invalidated what Seravalli said. Todd Diamond, who is Tom Willander's family advisor, called Frank Seravalli's report about the Willander signing totally false via an email. This was posted by Steve Ewan, who does stuff for The Province and the Vancouver Sun. The fact that he was able to go out there and talk to Todd Diamond, who is Willander's family advisor, quote-unquote, and just invalidate the Seravalli report, oh boy, it's so juicy. Firstly, I'm thinking, where is it that Seravalli heard about this? And secondly, what's the truth? Let's take a look at it here. Seravalli did tweet out, "I'd like to amend this. It was premature to say that the two sides have an agreement in place tonight. However, sources are very confident that this will end with an agreement that begins in 2025-2026. And a lot of people are going out there and flaming Seravalli in the replies. We can be mean and showcase all of these off, but we'll just let cooler heads prevail and continue on with the other topics. It's not like Frank Seravalli had a bad day today, tweeting out and revealing all the information on Logan Couture's retirement announcement, which is going to happen tomorrow, but we now know that it's going to happen because Seravalli tweeted it out. Yeah, it's been quite the day for hockey fans on Twitter interacting with Frank Seravalli tweets. But anyways, let's actually get on to the game here. The second last game of the 2024-2025 regular season for the Vancouver Canucks against the San Jose Sharks at home, and Vancouver takes it 2-1 in OT. Honestly, this felt like a preseason game. Just the vibes of it all. Maybe for me, I'm watching Montreal and Chicago and Ivan Demidov's debut and all the excitement there. And to go from that game to this Canucks game, night and day difference, just in terms of the fan sentiment and how folks in the building were reacting. This game had AHL preseason caliber quality game written all over it, just in terms of San Jose being as bad as they are, and Vancouver dressing names like Aatu Ratu, Linus Karlsson, Elias Pettersson, Nikita Tolopilo, Kirill Kudryavtsev, and the like in the game. The team's missing their top two centers, and I will admit, for as good as Quinn Hughes was in this game in particular, this was not really a game where I look at it and say, yeah, look at that, Quinn's doing MVP caliber stuff. I feel like for the past few games here, since the Vancouver Canucks got eliminated, I feel like Quinn Hughes has just kind of been on autopilot mode. Not to disrespect the guy, he is still better than 95% of defensemen in the NHL when he is in autopilot mode, but I feel like there's a pretty big and distinct difference between the way Quinn Hughes moves and the way Quinn Hughes plays in these games, like how he played today against San Jose, versus how he played in the do-or-die St. Louis game, where he was hogging the puck and just forcing everything himself and just moving and skating and driving play, just going absolute maximum overdrive mode. I feel like Quinn has not really done that since the Canucks have gotten eliminated, which is natural. I'm not going to blame the guy or say that he's bad for that. It's just something I've noticed. I do think that Quinn Hughes has a gear that he isn't really showing us as much nowadays compared to the previous few games when the Canucks were still in playoff contention. But anyways, this game against the San Jose Sharks, very low scoring, 2-1 in OT here. The Canucks got down 1-0 in the second period off of a Macklin Celebrini power play marker. The Canucks penalty kill was pretty strong in this game up until this point. In fact, the Canucks penalty kill was really strong in general up to this point. But Macklin Celebrini ends up taking a Tyler Toffoli feed, stopping up on the right side and just using all the available space to him to walk right in and snipe it. Top cheese on Nikita Tolopilo. Sorry, Tolopilo, but Celebrini has an NHL caliber shot, and that was beating him in a very clean fashion. 1-0 San Jose, and for a good chunk of this game, especially in the second half of it, I was like, okay, Vancouver's gonna freaking lose. Like, really? The Canucks had so many opportunities in the first period. They outshot the Sharks 12-3. They had so many power plays that looked good, but just could not get on the board and convert. They ended up outshooting San Jose 37-16 in totality. Of course, Vancouver was going to lose this game after being the more dominant team. It's gonna be that freaking New York Rangers game all over again. But unlike that same freaking New York Rangers game, the Canucks actually do end up tying it, and it comes off the stick of Linus Karlsson, whom, I get it, like, I've been talking smack about him. Oh, he's an AHL caliber guy who was in the NHL lineup because of injuries, but he's actually looked pretty good the past few games here, and he buries a rebound that Teddy Blueger tosses towards the goal. Karlsson roofs it on the backhand by Alexandar Georgiev. Thank gosh he ended up doing that, because I was getting really worried that Georgiev, of all people, was going to go out there with a shutout against the Vancouver Canucks. That's the last thing I'd need in my own fantasy leagues. But ultimately, Vancouver then takes it to overtime, and I love how the Canucks were utilizing Aatu Räty in this OT. They just tossed him out there and said, hey, your only goal is to win the faceoff. That's your goal. We do not care if you end up taking the shift afterwards or you skate around. We don't want that out of you. We want you to win the draw and then get your behind over to the bench so some other guy like a Connor Garland can go out there and replace you. And they're like, okay, we'll toss out Räty, Hughes, and Hronek in the offensive zone. Just in case Räty loses it, we'll have two defensemen out there. But then it's like, nah, he wins it, and then he goes to the bench, and Hronek goes to the bench, and it's Garland and Suter with Hughes out there still. 3-on-3 overtime is all about possession, after all. But the game-winning goal comes with just a few seconds left in the overtime period. Quinn Hughes to Besser, and Jake DeBrusk gets the goal. Hughes over to Brock, and he takes the one-timer off the end boards, bounces back out in front, and it's DeBrusk there with his 28th goal on the season to seal the deal. You know, he does lead the team in goals. Brock Besser is a close second place for the Vancouver Canucks with 25 goals on the year. But Jake DeBrusk getting up there with his 28 goals. It is kind of weird to see Vancouver hockey experience this decline, because for all the years the Canucks have had where they were lacking 30 goal scorers for such a long time, the only goal scorer the Canucks have had that had reached 30 in a certain amount of years was Radim Vrbata. He was the only 30 goal scorer the Canucks had on the team for like 6 seasons. And then all of a sudden, the Canucks got 3 guys who broke it, and Pettersson, Miller, and Bo. And then even further, you had Pettersson reach 39, and Kuzmenko was up there too. And then JT Miller was always getting goals, and Brock Besser got 40 last year. But now the top goal guy on the team has 28. And if that doesn't indicate how far the Canucks have fallen off from last season and what adjustments need to be made, I don't know what will. But at the end of the day, though, that's not the conversation we need to be having just yet. It's all about tonight. It's all about Vancouver and San Jose. And it's all about Macklin Celebrini getting spoiled here. He looked really good today, by the way. Not just the shot, but just overall, I thought Celebrini was a great, great impact force for that San Jose team. Pretty close game, all things considered, even though the Canucks were really outchancing the Sharks the entire way through. They just couldn't buy a goal. Man, Georgiev had their number today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Firstly, about Tom Willander, Frank Saravalli going out there and saying that the Canucks had signed the guy, or that they were going to sign the guy, only for the agent to say, nah, sorry, he's not doing that. Or not the agent, the family advisor. And what are your thoughts on this San Jose and Vancouver game? Nikita Tolopilo getting his first NHL win with 15 saves. Nice to see that out of him. Kirill Kudryavtsev also played. I didn't really think of him too much. I thought it was fine. Nothing really special, nothing really too significant, I think, out of him, but I guess we'll see what he's like next game if he does suit up against the Vegas Golden Knights. But thoughts in the comment section either way. I hope you enjoyed this video. And Bye.